What if Chapter 5 isn't about surviving monsters, but it's about realizing that you're being followed by someone else's plan the entire time? Because the real villain of Poppy Playtime doesn't run at you, it watches, it waits. And Chapter 5 feels like it's the moment that the prototype finally steps out of the shadows. Poppy Playtime has always had monsters, but Chapter 5 feels different. It feels like we're moving away from loud, chaotic horror and into something more slower, quieter, maybe even something more psychological. And if the prototype is the main force behind everything, then that shift makes perfect sense. Earlier chapters were about reaction. Something jumps out, you scream, you run, you survive. But the prototype was never designed like that. It doesn't chase you down the hallways, it doesn't announce itself. It stays in the background, which really is something more disturbing about this type of enemy. The prototype isn't just another experiment, it's the mind behind the whole factory, the thing connecting everything, which means that Chapter 5 doesn't need constant attacks, because the fear isn't about being chased. The fear comes from realizing you're inside a system that has already been watching you, already predicting you, already planning everything around you. Psychological horror is about doubt, about feeling unsafe without knowing why. That perfectly matches the prototype because you don't know where it is, you don't know what it sees, you don't know what it controls, and that certainly becomes horror, not the monster. Imagine walking through the empty sectors of the factory. No enemies, no music, just movement in the distance, doors opening by themselves, machines activating on their own, not because a monster is there, but because the prototype is interacting with the environment. You're not being chased, you're being guided, which is definitely a lot worse. What if in Chapter 5 it's not about escaping, but about being slowly pushed where the prototype wants you to go? Not force, not violence, but pure manipulation, making you think you're in control when you're not. That turns the entire game into psychological horror, because every decision feels suspicious. A jump scare is over instantly, but the idea of something more intelligent watching you, learning you, guiding you, never leaves your head. The prototype doesn't need to scare you, it just needs you to realize that you will never be alone. If Chapter 5 truly focuses on the prototype, then it won't be the loudest chapter. It will be the quietest. And probably it's the most disturbing because if you won't feel like you're in a horror game anymore, it'll feel like you're being trapped in someone else's plan. So, what do you guys think? Do you think the prototype is going to be the main presence in Chapter 5? And would you rather face loud monsters or a villain that controls you and everything in the shadows? Let me know in the comments below.